cabin was perfect. It was a 2-bedroom tucked into the pine trees, about 20 minutes outside of Mendocino. Little wraparound porch, string lights, one of those open concept kitchens with big windows, and this absurdly deep farmhouse sink. I loved every inch of that damn place. We booked it for our 3-year anniversary, just me and Alyssa. No kids, no work, no phone signal. I remember the first thing that she said when we walked in was, "It smells weird in here." I laughed, but she didn't. The host, Lorraine, had left this note on the countertop, handwritten. It said, "Welcome Brandon and Alyssa. Please make yourselves at home. There's wine in the fridge, firewood stacked out back, and a telescope on the deck. Enjoy the view. Sunsets here are everything. One note, the closet in the master bedroom is locked for storage. Please don't try to force it. Thank you." That was that. Warm, casual, totally normal, right? We unpacked, poured some wine, and took 100 selfies with the trees in the background. Everything felt pretty easy, except that closet. It was on the far wall of the bedroom, standard size, stock white door, with this old silver padlock on the latch. Not some high-end combo lock, just one of those clunky ones you can get at pretty much any hardware store. At first, I really didn't say anything, but Alyssa began noticing me glancing at it throughout the night, even while we brushed our teeth. "You're gonna be weird about that closet the whole trip." "No," I said back. "It's just a locked door and a house that's supposed to be ours for the weekend. Storage," she reminded me. She said so in the note. But storage for what? It's a vacation rental, not a personal cabin. And that padlock looked pretty new. We laughed it off and went to bed early. And that was the last normal night that we had inside that house. The next day we were pretty busy. Coffee on the porch, a hike through the redwoods, took more dumb selfies at this overlook, and watched a hawk dive right through the fog. It was a perfect day. Still, every time we came back into the bedroom, my eyes would go straight back to that closet. It didn't do anything, it just sat there, unmoving and locked. But for me, it made that whole room feel off balance, like a splinter in your finger, small, invisible, but always there, always present. That night while Alyssa showered, I walked over to it, ran my hand along the grain of the wood. The padlock was old school, a solid metal shackle, key entry. I didn't touch it, just leaned in close. And I could swear when I did so, I heard breathing. Not loud, not even clear, just a faint, steady shift of air. I backed away and almost tripped over the nightstand. When Alyssa came out, towel wrapped around and smiling at me, I didn't say anything to her. I didn't want to ruin the night. We watched a movie, split the last of that wine, and then crawled into bed by 10. But sometime after midnight, I woke up. At first, groggily, I really wasn't sure why. But then I heard it. A soft thump from the closet. Not loud or frantic, just a dull, solid noise, like something shifting inside it. I held my breath. And then another thump, followed by a scratch. I reached over and Alyssa was dead asleep. The house was quiet. No pipes, no wind, no creaking floorboards, just that sound from the closet. I sat up, heart pounding, and just stared at the door. The padlock was still there. I got up and walked over, pressed my ear to the door. Nothing though. I waited a little longer. Then, right at the edge of my hearing, I heard it again, breathing. I sat up and didn't sleep the rest of the night, and the next morning, I told Alyssa. She laughed at me at first, thought I was winding her up or something, but when she saw my face, she stopped. "What kind of sound?" she asked me. "Thumping, scratching, breathing. I know how all that sounds, but it's what I heard." She stared at the closet and bit her lip. "Do you think there's like a animal maybe in there? Too big." "What do you mean too big?" "I don't know the sound, it just felt big, like human." She stepped closer to the closet and looked at the padlock. "It's the same one, right?" We debated about calling the host, and eventually Alyssa wound up sending a text. "Hey, Brandon thought he heard something in the closet last night. Just want to make sure there's no animal or any issues. Thanks." We waited and didn't get a response. We checked our signal. No bars, so we tried the Wi-Fi. Still out. That's when I remembered the welcome book saying there was a landline in the kitchen. I picked it up and, of course, no dial tone. That afternoon, Alyssa went to go lie down. I stood in the kitchen staring at the fridge, trying to psych myself up to make some kind of lunch. And then I took note of something. The wine bottle. It was on the counter. I know we left it on the coffee table. I walked into the living room, blanket folded. TV remote placed neatly in the center of the rug. Not how we left that either. Alyssa for sure hadn't done it. I asked her, and she swore she didn't. Then we realized we'd both been outside for a while earlier, alone. Not long, but enough. Somebody had been inside. That night we barricaded the bedroom door with the dresser. Not because of the closet, because of everything else. No cell, no internet, no way to call out. Something had changed. We aren't alone out here. Not really. Alyssa tried her best to stay calm, but her eyes kept darting back and forth to that closet. What if, she whispered to me, what if somebody's living in there? Her words sat in the air like smoke. I didn't answer her. At exactly 2:14 a.m., that scratching started up again. And then, the knob turned. I watched it turn. The padlock held, but something pulled, really hard. I watched the wood flex. Alyssa was awake now. She saw it too and clapped her hand over her mouth. We didn't move or breathe. Then the noise stopped and we waited. Long enough to convince ourselves, hopefully, it was over. Then came a voice from inside that closet. A dry, whispery rasp. I'm cold. When the sun was up, we left. Didn't pack, didn't clean, didn't say goodbye. Just grabbed our shoes, our phones, and ran. The front door was still locked, but that back slider unlatched. We didn't look in the closet again. We didn't really want to know at this point what was behind it because whatever or whoever was in there wanted us to open it. And we almost did. 15 miles later, we hit the first gas station with signal. Alyssa called the sheriff's department in Mendocino County, filed a report, gave them the address, told them everything, word for word. The dispatcher was polite, said they'd send somebody out, but when we followed up 3 days later, there was no report filed. No record of anything at that cabin at the address, no listing under Lorraine's name. When I checked the rental site, the listing was gone, wiped clean, no history, no reviews, nothing, like it never even existed. Occasionally at night, I found myself thinking back to that voice, the way it sounded like it hadn't spoken in weeks. The way it said just those 2 words, cold. That wasn't a threat, but I don't really know what it was. I think if we answered back, if we had said anything back, if we tried to help, I'm not sure we would have made it out. We might be part of the closet now too. And then somebody else would be reading Lorraine's welcome note, drinking her wine, ignoring the locked door on that far wall.